All right, UFC Austin just finished. I've just got back to my hotel room. Haven't even got changed out of my suit, but tonight was one of the best fight nights that we've ever seen. UFC Austin, my God, from start to finish, it was an incredible night. The crowd was fantastic. So I gotta tell you about it. I'm starving. I haven't got changed. I haven't even had a drink yet, and it's a Saturday night, and it's still early enough. So I'm gonna go do that shortly, but I'm gonna tell you about this action because, as I said, we saw some phenomenal things. We've seen some things tonight that we don't usually see, and of course, in the main event, we saw an incredible performance. We saw Beniel Dariush get knocked out in stunning fashion, shocking fashion. We saw one of the worst stoppages that you've ever seen in the UFC, and we saw 2 knockouts in a row that you hardly ever see. So we're going to start at the bottom and we're going to go all the way through the good stuff. So Veronica Hardy, congrats. First fight of the night, went out there, beat Jamie Lynn Horst. Great performance. We're moving through. Jared Gooden, he went out there and he stopped Wellington Turman in round 2 with a great rear naked choke. Nice job. Rodolfo Bellato just came off the Contender Series. He beat Iho Pateria. Stunning fight, brutal back and forth. Pateria looked fantastic. He was fast with the hands, but he didn't get the job done. He got TKO'd in round 2. Now we'll start getting to the good stuff. Drakkar Klose versus Joe Selecki. They went out there. Selecki gets the takedown. Selecki's underneath. Selecki goes for an armbar. And what happens? Drakkar Klose picks him up high in the air. And I said it on the air, on the call, kind of like Rampage Jackson when he was fighting in Pride against Ricardo Arona. Picked him up, slammed him into the canvas, and he was unconscious. He was out cold. And Drakkar Klose wanted to give him another follow-up, but the referee did a great job of getting in there. Now, that blew the crowd's mind. It blew our minds as commentators, okay? But hold on to your horses. If you saw the fight, then you know what happened next, because Cody Brundage went up against Zachary Reese, another guy from the Contender Series, and almost the same thing, but it wasn't an armbar. It was a triangle. Zachary Reese got a triangle on Cody Brundage, and what did he do? 2 fights in a row, both in the first round, both just over 1 minute into the fight. He hits the triangle. Cody Brundage picks him up just like Quinton Rampage Jackson, slams him on his head, out cold, but there was a couple of follow-up shots in that one. It was nasty, it was vicious, and as I say, everybody lost their mind. Now, the thing that stood out tonight, and a lot of people on Twitter and stuff like that were like, oh my God, maybe the canvas isn't quite as padded as what it normally is. Don't be silly, of course it was. But that's just what makes this so impressive, because unless you've been in a UFC octagon, there is quite a little bit of cushioning. It's not like a hard surface. There's a fair bit of padding, but still, there was that much force generated. It put both people to sleep. As I say, you don't really see slam knockouts like that. You don't ever see 2 in a row. That's why these prelims were just unbelievable. They really were. Then we saw the legend Miesha Tate. She came back. She got back to winning ways. She got the job done. Rear naked choke in round 3 in an absolute dominant from start to finish performance. Julia Avila couldn't get the job done. She couldn't even get started. And Miesha Tate, welcome back to the bantamweight division. But still, we're just getting started. We're only on the prelims. The atmosphere was fantastic, and I am still starving. So we're going to get through this quickly. Now, we're building up, boys and girls. We're building up, so stay with me. Dustin Stoltzfus gets the job done, rear naked choke, Punahele Saudiani. Joaquin Silva had a great fight against Clay Guida. That was unbelievable, gets a decision. Sean Brady dominates from start to finish Kelvin Gastelum and then finishes via Kimura. Devastating for Kelvin Gastelum, but brilliant for Sean Brady. Now we get to we're almost there. It's the co-main and the main. That's what we're all waiting for. Davison Figueiredo goes out there, has a great fight with Rob Font. Davison Figueiredo moving up to bantamweight for the first time at 35 years old. Very, very impressive against Rob Font. So well done to him. But now we're getting started. Bobby Green, Jalin Turner. Jalin Turner stepped in, short notice, very, very short notice, just a few days to be honest. Dan Hooker got injured, obviously, the arm, right? The original opponent, Dan Hooker couldn't continue. So, right, it was weird this one because Bobby Green was getting in fights with Arman Tsarukyan all week. Arman Tsarukyan, you might have seen the footage, came up, got into his face, talked a bit of shit with all his boys there, but then later on in the lobby, downstairs, where I'm going to go for a bevy in a minute, it all kicked off. Bobby and his boys showed up and they went after Arman Tsarukyan and his whole crew, and it was a bit of a shit show. But that's Bobby Green, man. That is Bobby Green. You don't mess with him. He's a real one. He's a man of his word. But sadly, it doesn't matter how much a man of your word are, he didn't get the job done tonight. Jalin Turner is an old training partner of mine. I trained with him when I fought Anderson Silva, and I trained with him when I knocked out Luke Rockhold for the belt. He's a tremendously talented kickboxer, and he is only getting better and better. 6'3" for the lightweight division, and people thought that he might not make weight, but he did make weight. And a lot of people online calling him a weight bully. Listen, he has to sacrifice to make weight. And he made the weight, okay? If it gone to the second and third round, he would have started to fatigue, like he did in the Dan Hooker fight, if I'm honest. But that's not what happened. Number one, he looked brilliant right from the opening bell, as did Bobby Green. Bobby Green's slick. I'm a big fan of Bobby Green. I really am. But Jalin Turner, it was like a piston. The right hand hit him on the temple, and he goes down. And he's pretty much out. Okay, he is pretty much out, unconscious right there. But of course, the referee didn't stop the fight. Jalin Turner follows him down. Boom, boom. A few more punches. Gets on top of him. Bobby Green is face down on the canvas. And Jalin Turner has no choice but to continue to rain down potentially, well, very, very bloody traumatic blows. Not potentially. They were heavy punches. They were knockout power punches, one after the other, after the other. And the whole arena, all of the commentators, everyone around the octagon was in shock. The referee, I don't know his name. And he is a good referee. He is, okay? But that was madness. That was insane. Bobby Green was unconscious, and he took about 9 or 10 unnecessary blows. Okay, so the commission have got to have a word with that guy. Okay, now maybe from his angle, he couldn't quite see it right. Maybe he couldn't see that Bobby Green was unconscious, but he did go unconscious a couple of times, and some of the punches brought him back round. Love Bobby Green. He showed so much character. He got back to his feet. He went over. He gave a smile. He had a hug with Jalin Turner. I mean, that was beautiful to see. It really was. It just shows the character of Bobby Green. It really does. But Jesus Christ, ref, I don't want to rain on your parade. I don't want to add to the shitstorm. But that was bad. It was really, really bad. Fighter safety is supposed to be paramount. That was not good. That was an awful stoppage. One of the worst, if not the worst, that I can remember in recent memory. And granted, I've been hitting the head a lot, so I don't remember too much. So it might not be the worst, but from what I can remember, and maybe it's recency bias, that was the worst stoppage I've ever seen, man. Bobby Green was unconscious for the get-go, right? Jalin Turner gets back to winning ways. Congratulations to him, and well done to Bobby Green as well. That man's a real one. He is. Simple as that. Now, we move on to the main event. Unbelievable. Beneil Dariush fighting Arman Tsarukyan, right? First of all, if you saw the fight, you know what happened. Beneil got knocked out, okay? You got to have respect for Beneil Dariush. Not because of how good of a fighter he is. Not necessarily because what a great human being he is. I'm here in Austin, Texas. As soon as I landed here, I went for a walk to go get some dinner. He's walking down the street with his little baby girl on his shoulders. He's just an awesome guy. But because he will take on anybody. He literally will. A lot of people talk like that, but they don't. They don't want to fight down in the rankings. They don't want to give hard potential opponents the opportunity, because if they lose, they move down, okay? They'll only fight the top dogs, okay? He gave Arman Tsarukyan a chance, and he paid for it. Listen, but that's the sport. That's the sport of mixed martial arts. Now, the fight started, and how long did it last? Because it wasn't bloody long, I tell you that. It was 1 minute and 4 seconds, okay? Both exchanged a couple of shots here and there, a couple of kicks, whatever. What happened was Beneil Dariush was going in. Arman Tsarukyan jumps up, throws a knee, okay? It didn't even really land flush. But as he still had the knee in the air, he follows it up with a little shot. Now, the relevance of that is that you can't really generate much power. If you're standing on your feet, you have to turn your hips. The power is generated from your foot all the way up through your leg to your hips. You turn, and the final thing that comes out is the arm, right? And when the punch connects, it's all the power that was generated. He was on one leg. He was throwing a knee. There was no power, but they always say it's the shots you don't see that knock you out, right? It's an old saying. It's a saying as old as the fight game itself, okay? But that was unbelievable, the way that he knocked him out. Beneil hit the floor. Few more follow-up shots, and referee Mark Smith stepped in and stopped the action, okay? And it was a solid stoppage. I mean, Beneil Dariush was definitely out cold. So, commiserations to Beneil Dariush. But, more importantly, congratulations to Arman Tsarukyan. This is the game. 2 men enter. 1 man or woman leaves a winner, and 1 leaves a loser. That's the brutality of this sport. The highest of highs and the lowest of lows. So, Beneil will be back. okay? But Arman Tsarukyan is on a mission. He wants to fight Islam Makhachev. He's fought him once before. He took him to a decision. He took the fight on relatively short notice, and he is flying right now, okay? He's absolutely flying. And I don't know if he's going to get the next title fight, but he certainly started a discussion because, listen, Charles Oliveira is going to be next. Then it's going to be Justin Gaethje. So, in fact, I'm answering my own question. He's not going to get the title fight. But he said this week, I don't care. I don't care. If I've got to fight 3 more people, I will fight 3 more people. Arman Tsarukyan is only 27 years old, and he gets better and better every single time we see him. And the UFC fights continue to get better. The atmosphere in there tonight was unbelievable. I had a great time commentating with Daniel Cormier, Brendan Fitzgerald, and the UFC team always take great care of us. But there it is. There's my instant reaction. What do you think? I'm going to get out my suit. I'm going to go get some food. I'm going to get a little drinky poo before I hit the sack, go to bed, fly home.
Are you intoxicated?
Tales from the Octagon 2 is coming up, so I've got to get back and carry on working on that. If you want to come and join the show, Tom Aspinall and Paul Craig are coming along, myticket.co.uk. But never mind that. What did you think of that stoppage? Worst stoppage you've ever seen? What did you think about Arman Tsarukyan? Do you think he has a shot at Islam down the line? I mean, listen, he's got to wait for Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira, as I said, but I think he's just emerged as one of the top contenders. Still, that's it. I've been talking all day, I've been talking all night, and now I'm going to go eat some food, have a drink, and leave you alone. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't done so already, please. Thank you to almost 600,000 of you that have done. Really, really appreciate it. You guys take care. All the best, and look after yourself.